I never imagined my late-night study sessions, grappling with pre-law textbooks, would spark the kind of neighborhood drama that people still whisper about at block parties. But there I was, standing on my front porch, heart pounding, as a police cruiser rolled into our driveway. Mrs. Evelyn Harper, our HOA president known to everyone as the neighborhood's self-appointed queen, was screaming at my tutor, Mr. Edward Grayson. Her face was beet red, her finger jabbing inches from his chest, while she waved her phone like a weapon. "This is private property, governed by our Homeowners Association," she bellowed, her voice dripping with smug authority. "I don't care who you are, you need VY cider credentials. Or, I'm calling our lawyer right now, Mr. Grayson, a wiry man in his late 60s with a calm that could steady a storm, didn't flinch. He stood by his car, hands clasped, letting her tirade wash over him like background noise. When she finally paused to catch her breath, he spoke, his voice low and deliberate, the way you'd imagine a sage delivering wisdom. "Ma'am," he said, "I'm here at this family's in VY Tatayon. And for what it's worth." He reached into his jacket, slow and deliberate, pulling out a small leather wallet. I saw the law. He flipped it open, revealing judicial credentials that gleamed under the afternoon sun. Evelyn's face froze, her righteous fury melting into something like panic. The color drained from her cheeks as she realized she'd just picked a fight with a sitting judge. This whole mess started 3 months earlier when my parents noticed my grades in Constitutional Law 101 were tanking. I'd always dreamed of being an attorney, like my grandpa, but the endless case law and legal theories were drowning me. My confidence was shot, and law school felt like a fading fantasy. That's when Dad's co-worker mentioned Mr. Grayson, a retired judge who tutored students like meckids with big dreams but shaky foundations. From the moment his unassuming Toyota pulled into our driveway, Evelyn Harper was on high alert. I caught her peeking through her curtains, phone in hand, like she was ready to call in a SWAT team. Our neighborhood, Willow Creek, had been her personal fiefdom ever since she became HOA president 2 years ago. She turned our community guidelines into a rulebook thicker than my law textbook, dictating everything from fence colors to how many seconds you could leave your trash can out. "Who's that man?" she asked Mom the next day, pretending to fiddle with her mailbox while Mom watered the roses. I don't recall APRO VYing any regular VY ciders. Mom explained that Mr. Grayson was my tutor, helping me ace my finals. Evelyn gave a tight-lipped smile, the kind that doesn't reach the eyes, and chirped, "Well, we have procedures for a reason. Safety first." But the way she lingered, staring at our house long after Mom went inside, told me this wasn't about safety. It was about control. Mr. Grayson's tutoring sessions were a game changer. Twice a week, he'd sit at our dining table, breaking down complex legal concepts with stories from his years on the bench. He'd presided over cases that made headlines, and he had this knack for making the law feel alive, not just words on a page. My grades climbed, and for the first time, I believed I could actually make it to law school. But as my confidence grew, so did Evelyn's meddling. It started small, her golf cart creeping by during our sessions, her eyes narrowing as she peered through our windows. Then she'd park right behind Mr. Grayson's car, claiming she was inspecting the street, but always wrapping up just as our lessons ended. One afternoon, I caught her snapping photos of us through the dining room window. When Dad confronted her, she claimed she was documenting suspicious gatherings for HOA records. Things got worse when she started emailing the neighborhood watch group, hinting at unauthorized business operations, in our home clearly targeting my tutoring. She even passed out flyers warning about strangers with fake credentials sneaking into houses. The nerve of her! She knocked on our door one evening, all smiles, to remind us that home businesses needed HOA approval. Mom and Dad explained, again, that Mr. Grayson was just a tutor, not running a law firm out of our Lee VYing room. "I'm only doing my job," Evelyn said, her voice sugary sweet. The rules apply to everyone. But it was OBVY as her rules were whatever she wanted them to be. The Real explosion came on a warm Tuesday afternoon. Mr. Grayson and I had moved our session to the back patio, soaking up the sun while digging into Supreme Court cases. We were deep in a debate about judicial precedent when Evelyn's voice sliced through the air like a fire alarm. She'd barged into our backyard through the side gate, holding her phone up, recording us. "This has gone on long enough," she declared, her voice trembling with self-righteous fury. "I have weeks of EVY denke, of unauthorized commercial activity. As HOA president, I'm ordering this man to leave saw. Mr. Grayson closed his textbook, his face as calm as ever. "Ma'am," he said, "I'm here at this family's in VY Tation. There's no commercial activity. I'm helping a student with constitutional law." But Evelyn wasn't VYing it. She stepped closer, still filming, her free hand flailing. "I don't know who you really saw, she snapped, her voice climbing. "You're trespassing on community property." Mom, hearing the commotion, rushed outside and started recording too. Evelyn spun around. "Leave EYD. Put that phone down. You don't have permission to record saw. Then, in a moment that still gives me chills, Evelyn grabbed Mr. Grayson's arm, trying to shove him toward the gate. "Leave saw, she shouted, her composure gone. Mr. Grayson gently but firmly freed his arm, his voice shifting to a tone that could silence a courtroom. "Ma'am, you're physically assaulting me, which is a criminal offense. I am Judge Edward Grayson of the County Circuit Court, and I strongly advise you to stop this immediately." He held up his credentials, clear as day, for both Evelyn and Mom's camera. Evelyn's jaw dropped, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. For the first time ever, she was speechless. But she didn't back down. "That could be fake," she stammered, her confidence crumbling. "Anyone could buy those online." Mr. Grayson's eyes narrowed. "I assure you, they're real. You saw the one trespassing. Leave now and stop this harassment. You've been told repeatedly why I'm here, yet you've escalated to physical confrontation. That's a legal line you don't want to cross." Evelyn retreated, but the damage was done. Mr. Grayson made a few calls from his car, his face grim. He told my parents that Evelyn's VY had gone from annoying to dangerous, and with their permission, he filed a harassment complaint. His law enforcement contacts promised swift action. Evelyn, though, thought she could brush it off. She'd bullied her way through HOA disputes for years, throwing around fake bylaws and empty legal threats. Neighbors always backed down, too tired to fight her. But she'd never tangled with someone who saw the law. 3 days later, as neighbors were coming home from work, deputies served Evelyn with papers at her front door. By dinner time, Willow Creek was buzzing. Evelyn Harper was under investigation for harassment and assault. Her HOA allies, who'd always nodded along to her every whim, suddenly vanished, dodging her calls and skipping the emergency meeting she tried to call. The final blow came a week later, a moment etched in neighborhood legend. 2 police officers pulled up to Evelyn's house, right as she was setting out her prized petunias for her weekly garden club meeting. Her friends watched, jaws on the floor, as she was arrested for harassment and assault. "This is outrageous," she shrieked, her perfect hair unraveling as she tugged against the officers. "I'm the HOA president. I was protecting our community standards. Their lawn was a 1/4 inch too high last month." The judge, not Mr. Grayson, who'd recused himself, wasn't impressed. He called her actions an egregious abuse of perceived authority, sentencing her to 2 years of probation, a DULA, $5,000 fine, and 100 hours of community service. But the real punishment was the neighborhood's reaction. At an emergency HOA meeting, Evelyn was voted out as president unanimously. When the decision was announced, she stood, face flushed with rage and humiliation. "You can't do this," she cried. "I've given everything to this community. I've kept our property values up." Her voice broke as she stormed out, and then something incredible happened. The room erupted in applause. The community she'd ruled with an iron fist was finally free. Looking back, Evelyn's downfall wasn't just about her picking the wrong fight. It was about power, control, and what happens when someone thinks they're above the law only to crash into someone who saw the law. Mr. Grayson kept tutoring me, and I'm now on track for law school, more inspired than ever. But I'll never forget that day on the patio, when one man's quiet strength turned a neighborhood tyrant's world upside down. So what do you think? Was Evelyn just a stickler for rules? Or did she deserve every bit of her public humiliation? Should HOAs have this much power over our lives? Or are they breeding ground for petty dictators? And let's get real, would you have clapped when she got the boot? Or do you think the neighborhood went too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you're Team Grayson, and subscribe for more wild stories like this one.